controls history. They write the books. You got to go look, outside and find other sources to get the actual truth. The conquerors write the history. The conqueror is dead and gone. They can't defend themselves. So we got to go by actual accounts, actual proven fact and history. And, researchers that had the balls to actually write something different from what everybody else was writing. This is the stuff I get into. I can give a damn about scholarship. I can keep that bullshit that everybody want to be repeating as if it's the end all be all. I'm about truth. Plain and simple. My aunt. Truth. If it's not truth, if I can't prove it, if it don't fit, I'm not going to stick with it. So it's just that simple. But clearly, Crusades wasn't really about the Muslims. And when you get into the story, as I talked about before, going up to King Henry VIII and what happened with him and the papacy. So around this time with King Henry, you had the Crusades was basically done. And you had Rome basically in power and controlling everything. Islam was on the rise. And you had the papacy basically in everybody's pocket in Europe. Now, a lot of you know the story. I talked about this before about how King Henry VIII wanted a divorce from his wife. He wanted the Pope to give him a divorce because she couldn't bear home a male heir, and the Pope wouldn't do it. So King Henry basically got rid of everybody, all the presence of Rome and the Church of England. He got rid of them. He stopped paying the Pope taxes and everything like that. And he basically wiped out parts of the Bible that he thought was too Roman. This is what they did. And you have the Great Bible, come from King Henry VIII. And we know after that, Queen Elizabeth gave us the Bishop's Bible. And then we get into King James, which is part of what this video is about. Now, in my new DVD that's out now, I'll get into this a little bit more, but we got to understand, and this is why I'm telling people that, this is fraudulent. You got to pay attention to why things came into being. And when you understand the whole divine right theory, as I was saying earlier, how the hell did the Saudis become king? Where did these kings come from? Who the hell made these people kings and royal family? Just think about that. What the hell is it? How are they different from you? And you have divine right theology, which we're going to get into. Now, it's funny that this picture up here has King Henry VIII, Queen Elizabeth, and King James all in this picture. These are all Bible creators. So it's trying to tell you something in this picture. That's a very deep picture. But when you read what it's saying here, it's saying, according to the divine right theory, any attempt to overthrow the king, limit his power, or go against his will in any way was sacrilege, as it was also an act against God himself. This allowed kings freedom to do whatever they wanted because only God was able to judge a king. A French political philosopher named Jean Bodin first proposed this theory in the 16th century. One of the first proponents of the divine right of kings was King James I, your Bible guy. Originally known as King James VI of Scotland, King James I held the three crowns of Scotland, Ireland, and England in the early 17th century. During his reign, he sponsored the Bible translation that bears his name, the Authorized King James Version. He wrote a treatise called, which treatise is basically a thesis, called The True Law of Free Monarchies, in which he argued that kings were superior to other men and had royal prerogative to impose laws as they saw fit. Across the English Channel, the French King Louis XIV was also a strong advocate of the divine right theory. By the late 18th century, with the American and French Revolution, support for the theory weakened, and by the beginning of the 20th century, the theory was defunct. Basically, defunct meaning not in process no more, they're not doing it no more, which we know is bullshit. Basically, when you really get into the whole theory, it kind of switched. And it kind of switched basically to fit America and what America was trying to do. So you got to remember, okay, first of all, when we get into this whole divine right theology, it's more to the whole thing. These people believe, of course, they have the divine right to rule. That was ordained by God, put here by God. to basically rule, to be kings. And you have some kings that believe they are the bloodline of biblical people and stuff like that. It's all bullshit. It's something that can't be substantiated, and it also just really calls into the question, why, how, who the hell put you here and said, prove to me that God put you here as a king. What makes you different? And as I said, the theology didn't go away. They still have the same thing because we still have monarchies who ruling and are a part of government. But the whole thing basically changed from that to Manifest Destiny. Now, we also got into this in the DVD as well. It says Manifest Destiny. In the U.S. history, the supposed inevitability of the continued territorial expansion of the boundaries of the United States westward to the Pacific and beyond. Before the American Civil War, the idea of Manifest Destiny was used to validate continental acquisitions of the Oregon country, Texas, New Mexico, and California. The purchase of Alaska after the Civil War briefly revived the concept of Manifest Destiny, but it most evidently became a renewed force in the U.S. Foreign policy in the 1890s when the country went to war with Spain, annexed Hawaii, and laid plans for the Ishmael Canal across Central America. Now, those of you who know about this stuff would say, that divine right theology and Manifest Destiny are two completely different things, and you are correct. But when you understand that these people are the same people, who's running England and the monarchies is running America. And as I talk about with Rome, it's running the whole damn thing. So this is why we have Rome on the American Express card. You have Rome, who is running these countries, these monarchies. And, we know Britain owns America. It's basically running America. So it's all the same thing, just different names changed. Now, when you basically pay attention to Manifest Destiny, they basically saying that they are going to basically be running or spreading their territory westward, and not just westward, overseas. So when you just pay attention over the last few years, last 100 years, last 40, 50 years, you see nothing but American conquest, that we have bases all over the world, and that America has basically been acquiring countries and taking over countries and minding everybody's business but their own. So we can understand that when you read stuff like Manifest Destiny, when you read the divine right theology, these people who are running everything, this is where the whole New World Order thing stems from. They believe that they have the right to rule, and they're going out to basically conquer all these countries based upon these false claims of them being divinely put here. It is fraudulent. It's a fraud. Their crown is a fraud. Their power is a fraud. And the only reason why they are succeeding is because we allow them to succeed. Now, in the DVD, I talk about how this Manifest Destiny, how all of this stuff has to do with consciousness, the whole metaphysics of life and reality. And it's funny how they use the name Manifest Destiny, because they're basically using our consciousness to manifest their destiny. And we get into that in the DVD. But it's clear, it's obvious. Everything that we have been seeing war-wise has involved Christians, Muslims. Just pay attention. It's always been about some form of religion. The wars that we had here, the Civil War, we know what that was about. World War I, World War II was basically about conquest. It's just that simple. Them really fortifying control of Europe and bringing it under one umbrella, because that's what happened basically after World War II. You got the establishment of Israel as a nation, and you had the borders basically opened in Europe to where as long as you live in the EU, you can basically live and fly anywhere. And it's almost like a new world order happened in Europe, after World War I and World War II. And they're trying to get that to happen globally to where they control everything. So, that was out the way. The next step is these holy wars. And it's funny that the two major wars is going to involve religion. So the first being with the Crusades, which, we're talking, as I said, stretching from 10th century all the way to the 13th century. It's a long war, and everything that happened, from the the early 20th century, with all the wars, with World War One, World War Two, Civil War, and all that stuff like that. This stuff that was them establishing their control of America and Europe, and now they're trying to get the last remaining countries that make up the rest of the Middle East, because the goal again is Iran. They got to get Iran, and Iran is huge. They're powerful, and they're not going to be able to take down Iran unless they surround Iran, and they will have to get all the countries surrounding Iran before they can do that. And Iran being a huge ally with Russia, Russia can't allow it to happen. China can't allow nothing to happen to Russia. They are allies. China can't stand America. We owe them a lot of money, so they would like nothing more but to bomb the shit out of us or help anybody fight us. And, World War III they teetering on it. But these religions that everybody looking to for faith, to, uplift their life and bring success in their life and everything like that, they're all fraudulent. They are all put there as control mechanisms to control the people, and they use the religion to basically help them gain power, to gain control. It's just that simple. As I talk about in the DVD, we fight the wars. These people create the war, they create the problem, we fight them. So manifest destiny, they're manifesting their destiny using our consciousness, by manipulating you into believing these religions and accepting their authority, accepting that these religions actually mean something when it's bullshit, when it's hitting metaphysical meanings, hitting things that only people with this esoteric knowledge is really going to get. It's not meant for you. It's meant for you to fall for it. So when you understand that, when you step back and you look at everything, you can see clearly. Just pay attention. Look at the times. Look at what's going on. Yet again, another major thing is going on with Islam, with religion. We have the whole ISO crap, everything with Syria, now this whole Russia stuff. Where is it going to end? It's always war. It's always some kind of conquest involving America and involving Islam in some way, shape, or form. And we've seen that, over the last few decades. So this is all leading to something. And as long as we keep accepting these religions as being something other than a weapon, then, they're going to continue to win. They're going to continue to wage war until they conquer everything they need to conquer. And then after that, World War III will happen. We don't know what's going to happen after that. So we'll see. You got to go back and look at ancient times and look at how stuff began to get an idea of what's going on. Now, the King James Version, the King James Authorized Version, it's fraudulent. He changed a lot of stuff, as I proved in my videos on the Hebrew Israelites, that a lot of things was changed. It's already on record where you have King Henry VIII saying that he took out any remnants. You have the Protestants, and they talking about they took out everything that looked like it was Roman from out their Bible. And you got to remember, you wouldn't have none of these Bibles if it wasn't for Rome. And then you could take that all the way back to the Greek Septuagint, which you have the Septuagint, as I always talk about, and then all the books that followed. And since the Roman books, beginning with the Vetus Latina, the Latin Vulgate, and so on and so forth, all the codices, they have the Septuagint in there, the full Septuagint in there. So, you changing what the original said to put in whatever they wanted to put in, and they already admit this. This is what they admit. Remember, the Queen Elizabeth Bible, the whole Bishop's Bible was changed because, they didn't think she had a right translation, and there was too many things in there that she added that a lot of people didn't like. It was the same thing with the Geneva Bible, which named the Pope as the Antichrist. It was too blunt. They put too many things in there that wasn't supposed to be in there. So you have a history of the Bible just being changed. But you got to remember that these people give themselves power and authority based off a fraudulent book that nobody can prove is true. And we accept it. We accept their rule. We've been tricked into thinking that, this is the country for the people and by the people, and we pick these leaders and everything like that. No, it didn't happen like that. It just didn't happen like that at all. So we got to pay attention to why they was here in the first place and what this stuff is really is about. And again, I have videos on this stuff as well. So I try to get into everything from, the beginning of history as we know it, up until present day. I try to talk about as much things as possible to get you to open up your mind and connect these dots and see where things fit at, because, clearly people walking around thinking everything is right and correct in the way it's supposed to be when this stuff is controlled and is out of whack. So people got to understand that, they follow this King James Bible, especially your black people, that you have a dude who says he is put in power by God, and the Bible that he gave us reflects that and it bears his name. It doesn't say God Bible. It doesn't say the Bible inspired by God or what have you. It's just the King James authorized version. And in it, they are being ordained by God to rule. It's clear as day in the book in Romans 13:1. That's what I always talk about. So you got to understand that and remember that at this time we were in bondage, in slavery, which Deuteronomy attests to, and that the Hebrews will get into. But as I said, you got to remember the book was written between 1604 and 1611. So it's no kind of prophecy. Of course, he understood that, what was going on with the slaves, because he wrote the book during the time it was happening to the slaves. It's not the same book as Moses supposed to have written 2,000 years ago, saying the exact same thing that the King James Version says, making it a prophecy that Moses wrote 2,000 years ago. No, it's the King James Version written by King James and, the scribes or whoever he got to help him, that's talking about situations happening at that time. It's just that simple. And I got videos on that, and I basically proved that it's not the same as the oldest manuscripts. So you got to think about that for people who choose to follow the book or any variation of it. Because if you want to get into the NIV and the ESV and all that stuff like that, it's basically the King James Version with the words changed. That's all it is. More easier for people to understand. Based off the King James Version, though. The authorized version. So I get into all this stuff in other videos. So it's just stuff you got to look at and understand that these books are fraudulent. There's a lot you can learn from them. Don't follow them. Understand what it's really talking about in the metaphysics of the books. A lot of metaphysics in it. It's talking a lot about astrology. It's talking a lot about life, the woman. It's talking about energy. It's talking about meditation. It's talking about a lot of stuff that a lot of people can't fathom because they worship the book instead of reading the book. And as I said, it's the reason why they are in every Masonic lodge. It's because the Masons know what to pull from it. And the books are coded. And I get into all this stuff. So I want to do this quick video because I got a lot of questions about people questioning the authenticity of the Bible. Because a lot of people want to just go to another Bible. People think it's that simple. That, this Bible, everybody's against this Bible and King James Version. What Bible did they have before the King James Version? Should I use that one? And you got to understand, what this stuff is really about and how it doesn't matter what religion you take, that these religions are fraudulent and it was created for deception to rule. And they've been ruling ever since. Pay attention and look at that. Ever since this religion stuff started, they have been in power. They want y'all to sit back and think that Rome is still not controlling everything. That you can see clearly in history, they conquered everything. Just pay attention to the fact that you have England owning, just cut the map in half. And everything, you have everything on this side, basically being Europe and everything like that, from my position on the camera. All this over here would be Europe. Everything over here, you have America, the Americas, and Canada. You have Canada, you have America, you have South America. They own all that shit. They own it all. And then now, they own all of Europe, a lot of parts of Asia. And then you have, China, Japan, which we basically run Japan now. And then you have China, you have North Korea, South Korea, and stuff like that. It's not much they have left to conquer. Everything else is theirs. They really own it. So a lot of people can't fathom that. When did England give back power? When did Rome give back power to England? Think about that. Think about the Rothschilds and where they come from. This is the video I'm going to get into later on, so people can really see. Matter of fact, there's videos out there that really get into this. But I'm going to get into it a little bit more because we can trace this thing and see what's going on and see how the Rothschilds basically took the Bank of England and they own both and they're running all this shit. And it all goes back to the papacy. They all in cahoots on this shit. All this stuff people want to be revolving around the Bible is nothing. It's just meant to control. Plain and simple. You can pull the parables out and use it for yourself and understand what it's really talking about. But the book is about control. And they used it already. We reading it thinking it's something new and it's all new to us. They just still hatching out the plans that's in there. They're still basically fulfilling some of the plans that's in the Bible. But the main reason, you got to go back and think about when they first brought the book out, just first getting the masses of people to accept the doctrine. That was one of the major things they had to do, one of the biggest things they had to do. If you was living back during that time, just imagine everybody walking around. 1 minute you're not into no religion or you think something, but then as you keep looking, everybody is turning into Christians or Jews or Muslims. And then all of a sudden, laws start getting changed and things start getting changed. People start getting more civilized. And it took them a long time to do all this and to get all these people under this umbrella of religion. And it happened. And then now we've been born in the system that was created as a result of people falling for the religious doctrine. And now here we are trying to accept it. And a lot of us can't. We can't buy into it. Because, knowledge has increased. So this is something people really got to look into and not accept the authority of these religious books and to see clearly that they are fraudulent. So now I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch. I wanted to put out this video, as I said, because I got a lot of questions. And, people want to bounce around from religion to religion. Like I said, people think Christianity is false, so they go to Islam, or now they go into Hebrew Israelites. And you got to understand that all this stuff is fraudulent. It's all bullshit. It's all control. So, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. The new DVD is out. Thanks for your support, for everybody who bought it so far. And see you guys next video. Thanks for watching.